Donkey Kong Country, one of the most iconic and brilliant games Nintendo has ever released. This was Rareware at their best before, you know. How does one of the most critically acclaimed platformers of all time hold up in 2021? Has Donkey Kong Country been outdone by later entries in the series or just 2D platformers in general? Or does it hold up just as well in 2021? Let's find out. Donkey Kong Country's gameplay is like the little bit of juice left at the end of those frozen popsicles. It's just better than the rest of the popsicle. This game legitimately could not be better. Its gameplay is buttery smooth. And I should know, I'm touching butter right now. It's smooth. You've got two characters, Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, each with their own distinct differences. And let's just get this out of the way now. Diddy Kong is just better than Donkey Kong. Like if you come up to my house and we whip out some Donkey Kong Country and you say, hey, mind if I take Donkey Kong? I really prefer him in this game. I'm going to kindly ask you to leave my house because you are clinically insane. Now that's not to say Donkey Kong is bad, he's just a bit slower and feels just a little worse to play. The trade-off for his worst movement is that he's a little bit stronger, so he'll be able to kill some enemies a lot easier than Diddy Kong. Honestly though, the trade-off's not worth it. You're rarely gonna be in a situation where you need to kill one of those enemies and you're like, darn, wish I had Donkey Kong right now. Pretty much all the time, you wanna be playing as Diddy. Donkey Kong can also like do this little slam move on the ground in order to uncover secrets, but honestly, I never use this move. I didn't 100% the game, but also, I never even saw an opportunity to use it. Like, it's not very clear, or at least it wasn't to me. Maybe I'm just stupid. I will say though, I got through the entire game fine, twice, without ever really using it, so it's definitely not necessary. The gameplay has a decent amount of variety with 5 different animal buddies that'll be in the game to shake things up a little bit. There's Rambi the Rhinoceros, Winky the Frog, Ungard the Swordfish, Espresso the Ostrich, and Squawks the Parrot. I really like the animal buddies. They all mix up the gameplay really well and they're super fun to play. My only issue is that the levels aren't designed around them. Like, you don't need these animal buddies to get through the level. It feels like almost Rare completed the level without the animal buddy in mind and then just added it in last minute in order to shake the level up a little bit. I get why they did this. They wanted to make sure that if you lose your animal buddy, you can still complete the level. However, future games in the series design levels around the animal buddies and really go deep with their gameplay, so with that, I feel like future games definitely handled them better. There's 40 levels in this game, which is a pretty decent amount of content. It's not insane. This is the kind of game that you can complete in one sitting. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. Not every game has to have an insane amount of content. And I love just picking up Donkey Kong Country once in a while and playing it and not really having to commit to playing it for a long time. I much prefer quantity over quality. Wait. I much prefer quality over quantity, and this game is the definition of quality. This is the point in the review where I would usually talk about the game's story, but in a game like this, I don't feel like the story really matters. Donkey Kong loses his bananas and he's mad. That's all the motivation you need to go whoop K. Rool's ass. This game is about the game, so no points are obviously going to be deducted for it not having a super deep story. I think different kinds of games should be reviewed differently. But what is important in a 2D platformer is the game's world. You want to be playing in interesting environments. Does Donkey Kong do that? I would say yes. Donkey Kong Country takes place on Donkey Kong Island, which looks like this. Pretty epic, right? There are 6 worlds, and as you go through the game, you're gonna encounter a decent amount of variety in the levels you're playing. Visually, there's around 12 or 13 types of different levels that you're going to see, but in terms of the gameplay, I like to separate them into 3 categories: regular, water, and minecart levels. The regular levels are pretty self-explanatory. This is when you're controlling Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong on the ground down and just pushing your way to the end of the level. This is when the game is at its absolute best. They're gonna throw a gimmick at you, and as you go through the level, you're gonna have to figure out that gimmick. It's gonna get more and more complicated as you go through the level. You know, pretty basic game design. This game does a great job of not throwing the same gimmick at you twice. You'll see something in a level and then you'll never see it again, which makes that level that much more memorable. And I know it's been said 1,000 times, but the difficulty in this game is genuinely perfect. It's not too easy, but it's not too hard either. You're gonna feel really satisfied when you beat some of these levels, but they're not gonna be so hard that you feel like it's BS or something. The next type of level is the water levels, and yeah, I really don't like these. They're not unbearably bad, but most games have bad water levels, and not even Donkey Kong Country is immune. The swimming is just your basic swimming. The levels really never wowed me. There was never an idea in a water level where I was like, wow, that's really creative. Getting Unguard the Swordfish does make it a little bit better, but honestly, it never makes them anything special by any means. But you are rewarded with one of the greatest video game soundtracks of all time when you're playing them, so that's a nice bonus. The final type of level is minecart levels, and I feel like that they are such an iconic part of this game, and when I think about Donkey Kong, one of the first things that comes to mind is minecart levels. However, I was really surprised when I found out there are only 2 in this game. Minecart Carnage and Minecart Madness are the 2 levels, and they're both super fun and challenging. This is one of the points in the game where the game gets legitimately hard, and it's known for its difficulty, but I think it's difficult in a good way. Difficult for your average gamer, of course, because on this playthrough, I actually beat both of them on my first try. Epic gamer moment. I think the fact that there's only 2 is honestly just a testament of how Rare didn't like to reuse an idea too much. They don't overstay their welcome, and they leave you wanting just a little bit more, which is exactly where you want to leave your player. Boss fights are really important in a 2D platformer. They're the big, like, talking points of the game, the big fights that are supposed to show off the game the best. Unfortunately, the boss fights in this game are just sort of meh, to be honest. Definitely one of the weakest parts of the game. The final fight with K. Rool is awesome. It's an amazing boss fight, but other than that, it's really nothing special. Let's go through each of the boss fights and I'll tell you what I think about them. First up is Very Naughty, the Beaver. You jump on him 5 times and that's it. He might be the most simple boss in a group of simple bosses. Next up is Master Necky, and like the last one, you jump on him 5 times. He pokes his neck out from different sides of the screen while shooting a projectile at you. Just dodge him, jump on him, and that's it for this boss. Next up is Queen Bee, and she's also pretty simple. You hit her with a barrel 5 times instead of jumping on her 5 times. After you hit her with a barrel, she'll go invincible and try to attack you. Just avoid her attack until your invincibility is up, rinse and repeat 5 times, and this boss is done. Next up is Really Naughty. This is just a clone of the Beaver, except it's a little bit more powerful this time. After that is Dum Drum. This boss is the most different out of all of the bosses. You go through, you guessed it, 5 waves of enemies and have to dodge an attack in between each wave. Once you complete all 5 waves, the boss fight is over. And next up is Master Necky Sr. That's right, out of 7 bosses in this game, 2 of them are clones. It's just a more powerful version of Master Necky. As you can tell from all of those explanations, all of these bosses are extremely simple. I think there is a certain charm in the simplicity of the fights, but I would have at least liked for them to get more complicated as the game went on. They really left me disappointed. Until King K. Rool. This boss fight is awesome. It blows all of the other ones out of the water. Like, this is my favorite boss fight in this game, and it is yours too. I can't even imagine. I want to meet the person who says King K. Rool is not their favorite boss fight in Donkey Kong Country. What delusions would have to be going through your head, would deserve to be studied by a scientist. The fight begins. You're finally out of the same backdrop that we've been seeing for every boss in the game. You're on a ship. There's an awesome song playing in the background, Gangplank Galleon, and King K. Rool drops from the sky. sky. He throws his crown at you and does this little charge attack for 3 rounds. Then after that, cannonballs start falling from the sky that you have to avoid for 3 more rounds. After that, King K. Rool goes down and you've done it. The credits roll. Except it's not over. The game does a fake out and makes you think it's over, but it really isn't. King K. Rool jumps back up and starts jumping around and throwing his crown at you again. Any first-time player is gonna be taken majorly off guard by this. The fight's already hard enough as it is. You go through 3 rounds of this and then jump on him for the true finishing blow and complete the game. Now that's how you do a boss fight. The environment was amazing, the music was great, the fight was awesome. After people saw this fight, K. Rool became an instant classic in gaming. I know what you're thinking, Austin, how could you not like fighting the beaver twice? It's such a great fight. Listen, I only have room for 1 beaver in my life, and that's Bidoof, so this beaver was done from the beginning. But in all seriousness, the boss fights are just overly simple and not very memorable, other than the King K. Rool fight. They're fine, but that's about all they are, is fine. Future games definitely improve on the boss fights. This series is known for its amazing soundtracks, but was a good soundtrack something that's been with the series from the beginning? And the answer is absolutely yes. While I don't think this is the best soundtrack in the series, it's still an absolute banger. I think it's more of a testament to future games having absolutely godly soundtracks than this having a bad one. DK Island Swing, Minecart Madness, Life in the Mines, Forest Frenzy, Ice Cave Chant, Fear Factory, Gangplank Galleon, and of course, Aquatic Ambience all stood out to me as some of my favorites. This game legitimately does not have a bad song, so I probably missed a couple there, but that's just a testament to how good this soundtrack is. Aquatic Ambience is of course the best and most memorable track from this game. The fact that it stands out so much in a soundtrack so great really is a testament to how good of a song it is. I've even heard this song in my real life outside of the gaming community. I swear, I was sitting at a high school pep rally once, just chilling, doing my thing, when all of a sudden, the band starts playing Aquatic Ambience from this game. They started doing it and I was shook. I started looking around and nobody else is fazed. Clearly I was the only Nintendo fan in the vicinity. I did have a friend though, who wasn't sitting near me, who was also a Nintendo fan, and when we got together, I was like, did you hear that? And he was like, yeah, that was Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country. What an uncultured group of swine I went to high school with. How dare you not notice Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country. Shout out to my high school band for playing that though, that was really cool. This soundtrack leaves you with absolutely nothing to complain about. You've gotta have a couple songs from Donkey Kong Country on your video game playlist. Donkey Kong Country set the bar for 2D platformers back in the SNES days. The gameplay is still as buttery smooth as ever, and the difficulty remains the standard for how hard a game should be. The bosses are a little bit weak with the exception of K. Rool, and I feel like the animal buddies could have been implemented a little bit better. But those things barely hindered the experience. This is still a great 2D platformer to this day. It laid the groundwork for its predecessors. That's why I'm giving Donkey Kong Country an 8 out of 10 with the title of great. If you haven't played this game, you are doing yourself a disservice. Even though I feel like future games improved upon the formula, you can't deny this laid a phenomenal groundwork for the series. Hey, it's your old pal, TheGameBase here. Did you like that video? Well, I hope that you did. If you want to see more, I've got 2 Super Mario Galaxy reviews just waiting to be consumed by your eyes and ears. Just watch them. Just do it literally right now. Click it. Do it. You can do this. I believe in you.